Your Daily 180, 180 seconds of pure Bible study.
Thank you for being with us today for this, your Daily 180 Bible study. We're wrapping up a study on worldliness, looking at James chapter 4, verses 1 through 6. Incidentally, next week we'll be talking about the cure for worldliness. And we notice in verse number 4 that if you love the world, you're an enemy of God. It's a very, very serious situation. In 1 John chapter 2, in verse number 15, we're told, "Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him." That's pretty serious, being an enemy of God, not having the love of God in you. And this is what happens when the systems of this world and the pleasures of this world become more important to us than doing the will of God. In 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 15, I want you to listen to this. It says in 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 15, "But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts." Now hold on to that thought. We'll come back and talk about that. "But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and always be ready to give a defense to everyone who asks you a reason for the hope that is in you with meekness and fear." What does that mean, sanctify the Lord God in your hearts? That idea of sanctify comes from the same root word from which we get our word holy. It is the idea of being set apart. And if we sanctify the Lord God in our hearts, it is the idea that we have set apart our heart for Him and for Him exclusively. You know, it's a rather interesting thing, the way God created us human beings. In romantic relationships, your heart is only big enough for one romantic relationship at a time. That's it. There's no way it's going to work otherwise. You might try, but you're going to do great harm to yourself and to others. And in terms of our spiritual relationship, our heart is only big enough spiritually for a relationship with God. Not with God and the world, but with God. And the idea of sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, dedicate your heart to God. Well, let's think about, what does that mean? I used this illustration the other day, and I want to share an idea with you. I said, you know, if you come to my house and you need a toothbrush and you say, "Bill, can I borrow your toothbrush?" I don't like that idea. That my toothbrush is set apart for me. I had a lady after service say, "You know what, if you come to my house and want to borrow my toothbrush, you may, but I don't want it back." You know, in a funny sort of way, God says, if you want to share your heart with the world, you may, but I'm moving out. Folks, that's a scary thought. We need to realize we need to be completely dedicated to the will of God, not to the pleasures of this world. Join us again next week for your Daily 180.